Well, it's Monday, and it means it's time to sit down with San Antonio Mayor Gina Ortiz Jones.
Yeah, Mayor, thanks for joining us this morning. Let's jump right into Project Marble.
Yeah.
What's the latest with it? And we were just talking during the break. Is there any possibility we're going to get a second independent economic analysis on this?
Yeah, it's not, we're not likely to get the full independent economic analysis that we need before November. I think it is still possible for the questions that are outstanding. Some of those questions alluded to by Mr. Sanders, who you just had on here. And I think those answers will be important as voters head to the polls November 4th.
Yeah, were you keeping a track of the rallies that were happening this weekend? The Spurs held a big one promoting their campaign, and then as well as Metro Cops also.
Cops Metro
also talking about their thoughts about the whole project.
Well, look, I think it's important. I think there needs to be a public dialogue on $800 million. Again, I continue to say, if you're a city voter, you pay twice, right? You pay $311 with the county and you pay $489 with the city. So I've been very clear. I will continue to advocate that if you pay twice, you should vote twice. You know, Cops Metro, I think, is laying out some of the questions that are still outstanding among the community, and certainly the Spurs have their right to make their case as well.
I think it's interesting, Professor Saunders had said there's no guarantee in that term sheet that says the Spurs are going to lay out that money. Is that something that we need to put in an agreement that, look, it's guaranteed you're going to lay out this money?
Well, look, I think this was, I hate to be a little bit of a I told you so, but like this is exactly why I wanted more time with the term sheet. Again, we had all of 96 hours from the time we got it until when some of my colleagues wanted to vote on that. And that was all absent public discussion. This is my concern as we head into November, and I've said it repeatedly, which is if folks don't feel like they have all of the information, or that the ball has been hidden from them in some form or fashion, or they haven't had sufficient input on $800 million of their money, I don't care what anyone says, it's the people's money, then they may vote on principle to say no in November. I just looked at the ballot language last night, in fact, on Prop B, which is about that money that would go to the arena. It doesn't even include $311 million. So folks should know that. And that's why I think it's really important. Again, if you pay twice, and city voters, you live in the county, you live in the city, so you pay twice, you should vote twice. I'll keep working toward that.
Yeah, what would be a realistic timeline for an economic analysis if you choose to move forward with that?
We will move forward with that. I think it depends on the length of it. I think again though in the immediate getting some answers to some of the questions that Haywood Sanders just laid out, that I think is totally doable. Again, those questions are based on some of the Spurs' own analysis. Again, we don't have any analysis other than what the Spurs have provided.
Well, and again, it's not to disparage the Spurs or we can't trust them. They've been wonderful for their city.
And no one's saying that.
Yeah, a lot
and
of
so
good. Well, I just wanted to make sure.
Well, and Barry, hey now, come on now.
No, we're talking $500 million.
That's right. We should have the data. This isn't about, have they been good to us or not? We got to be good to ourselves and get the data that we deserve before we invest. And again, what's top of mind for me? We're going through this budget season. Budget season right now. We're finalizing that budget. I was just at and this is actually how it comes up when I talk to folks, right? Just last week, I was in D3. I was at the Lions Senior Center, and I was doggone yelling into the mic. You know why? Because their HVAC system isn't working the way it needs to, and they had to bring in big fans. And so when folks hear about, on top of, I just had a woman, frankly, providing some, let's just say, strong feedback on the infrastructure projects in her neighborhood that she's been yelling about for years on her in Channing Street, 300 block Channing Street. And so when folks are asking for these kinds of things, and then they hear about, us potentially investing in $489 million toward a Spurs arena on top of some of the other infrastructure-related bills on there, it's tough for them. It's tough for them because, again, they feel like, hey, I've got real needs. I've been trying to raise, how are we meeting the needs in our community before we think about some of these other major investments for which they also feel like they don't have enough information or there's been sufficient public discussion.
They're giving us the wrap here, but real quickly, how much does this affect the budget process at all?
It could. This is why I've been asking for revenue sharing. we've got a budget gap. The budget gap in 27 is $150 million. And if we don't help ourselves, that grows to $220 million. So you know what helps us? If we get a cut of tickets from the Spurs, if we get a cut from the concessions, if we get a cut from the parking, you know, when a company gets to put their name on that new arena, that's almost $10 million a year. Wouldn't it be nice to get a little bit of a cut from that? So when they get theirs, we get ours. Wouldn't that be nice? I think that's only fair as well.
Close the gap for sure. Unfortunately, Mayor, we're out of time.
Thank you. Thank you. See you
It
next
always
Monday.
goes so quick.
See you next Monday.
All right.